First of all, Jordy, many congratulations. You've just won the Betfred Player of the Match.
Oh, brilliant, thanks. I didn't know.
Well, you can't look too surprised, Jordy. Obviously, with your creation out there today, you had a hand in many, many tries, and it must be really pleasing to get off to a winning start today.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, had to change positions today and jump in the halves, but the girls were just so talented around me. They run such great lines. It makes my job easy. I just need to find them with a pass, and some good tries out there, and Wigan made it really tough for us, especially in that second half. But yeah, really happy to get a win to start the season.
An opening fixture, obviously, against the Wigan Warriors is always going to be a difficult start to the league campaign when you're both starting off on, well, exactly the same level footing, really. It must be really pleasing to get that win. Yeah,
definitely. I think Saints-Wigan derby always had a little bit of spice anyway, like irrelevant of it being the first game of the season. We were both really up for it. So yeah, it's always for us, it means so much to get to play in the stadium in front of all these fans. A Wigan Saints derby, making sure we get the win for them as well, because the support's been fantastic.
It was obviously a massive year for you last year, cleaning up with the Challenge Cup and the Super League Grand Final. You got the Challenge Cup last week. Big season ahead of you now, obviously going into the World Cup as well. Just how big is that for you this year?
Yeah, this year is the biggest year Women's Rugby League's ever had. I genuinely believe that, and the opportunities we've got as Saints to hopefully play in all the big games, and then as England players, hopefully playing in the big games at the end of the year in the World Cup. It's massive for us, so we just want to take full advantage of everything we have this year.
Jordy, thanks for joining us. Many congratulations again. We're just bringing Amy.
There you go, Amy.
Thank you.
Go on, lad.
Thank you.
Amy, what a great win today, and to sort of cap it off for you as well, 2 tries. Many congratulations.
Thank you very much. Couldn't have got them without my team, but you know, it's all about finishing as well, so I'll take the 2 tries. Thank you.
You talk about obviously your teammates around you. We've just spoken to Jordie Cunningham. I mentioned to Jordie about her creation around the pitch. Just how easy does that make your job as a runner that you are running onto the ball when you've got a player like that in the middle?
Honestly, it makes me relax so much more, because the player that Jordie is, she draws players, so creates these big holes. So when I'm running in hard, it just makes my job so much easier. And Jordie's really good at controlling it and getting the shape set up that we need to. So for me, it's great playing next to Jordie.
Again, Challenge Cup victory last week going into today. It was never going to be easy, but you seem to have 44 points to nil. What a great victory it was for you today.
Yeah, you know, it were hard. The weather's come and it's really nice, and I think we're probably still feeling it from last week. It's been a long week with recovery, with aches and pains, but you know, we've got the win, and we've dug deep under the conditions today, so it's been a great game all over.
Amy, congratulations again, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Georgia, first of all, obviously defeat today, but a really tough game against the St Helens. First up, how do you feel after the game?
It was a pretty tough game. We knew it was going to be a challenge. Obviously they came out and did what they do best. I think we've got a lot to learn from. We're still learning. We've just got to keep moving forward now, put that behind us and move on to the next game we've got.
You talk about still learning, but there was a lot of youth in that team today, which is great for the game, obviously. Just how beneficial is it for players of that age to make the debuts, in particular, against a team like St Helens?
Yeah, obviously it's a massive game. It's a big derby. It should mean a lot to them all, and I know it does. In the changing rooms, they're absolutely buzzing. Obviously the nerves are really high, but they're really excited to get out there and play for Wigan. I think massive credit to them all, because they put in a good graft and a good shift, and the quality of girls coming through is just amazing. So it's so good to see the young girls game growing as well, and young girls coming through, which is amazing.
Georgia, many thanks for joining us. We'll bring in Derek now just to follow up on that. Many thanks, Georgia.
Deck.
Derek, thank you for joining us so quickly after the game. It must be really pleasing today to get off to, obviously, first game of the season to back up with a victory.
Yeah, great. Big thing for us is obviously nil again, so we want to make sure we keep our goal line intact. We had a few changes this week, so I'm just really impressed how the girls have turned out.
You mentioned it was pleasing to nil Wigan. Just how much sort of emphasis have you put on that defensive performance? Because today it was virtually spotless.
Yeah, we worked a lot about it in the week. I thought one of our undoings against Leeds, we didn't control the ruck area. We were off too quick. So today we've controlled that ruck area, hence what we get on the back of it.
And again, it's never easy to back up after winning a Challenge Cup final. You've only had 1 week to turn it around. You must be really pleased at the way they've come today and performed. Yeah, they're a special group of athletes. Somebody I love working with. You know, they're so enthusiastic and they bring that every week. So that's the pleasing thing for me. Another big game coming up next week against the York City Knights. Obviously, the top 4 contenders from last season. How we feel going into that game next week on the back of today? Oh, we're definitely going into it on the right foot. We know it's going to be tough. We know it's going to be a really big ask and a big task. So, again, if we want to win the leagues, we need to make sure that we're up for this challenge. Derek, many thanks for joining us. All the very best for next week. We'll bring in Chris Ratcliffe now. Thank you, Derek. Cheers. Chris, thank you for joining us so quickly after the game. Just before we go into the logistics of the game, you lost Ellie Costello there in the second half through injury. First of all, how is she?
Yeah, she's got a bit of a knee injury, Ellie. We're not sure at this point. I was a bit disappointed with the actual incident, to be honest. I thought she was taken late, and when you hit late, you're already relaxed, and I think that's what's happened. That's brought about an injury which we hope's not too serious, but it could well be another significant knee injury. There's obviously, Chris, a little bit of noise sort of outside the stadium just coming in, but we'll continue to do the best that we can. You must be relatively pleased there with the second half performance. It looked at one point, I think it took 25 minutes before St Helens scored their first try of the second half. So you showed a little bit of resilience there in the second half against an outstanding side. Yeah, we spoke a little bit at half time. I felt we'd perhaps gifted about 10 points in that first half, just from not really being smart enough. And I went right back to I think one of our first couple of sets. We came out of our end fairly well, and we had a really good long kick that found touch. But then we weren't ready for the transition when it was a play the ball in the centre, and I think that on the next set, St Helens came up the field, a little twos play, and in for a score. So it was just a little bits of smarts that we were letting ourselves down, and we're catching us a little bit, despite what was clearly a lot of effort from us. And I think we did better at that in the second half. Certainly in that early spell, we were working a little bit more for each other and a little bit smarter, and not giving those little easy advantages that you can't afford to give a team of St Helens class. And we certainly worked a lot better as we went through that, and then we just tied a little bit towards the end, I think. You talk, Chris, about putting those little things right. You introduced a lot of youth today to this side. You've now got 2 weeks, I think, before your next game against Huddersfield. Lots of positives from the second half today. I'm guessing that in that 2 weeks you'll look to put those little things right and improve again in that performance against Huddersfield. Yeah, we will. There's a few players I'll need to give some big raps to. I thought young Georgia Lake on debut today, 17, and she's run as hard as anybody in the forwards. So little bits like that, and Becky Greenfield's been out for nearly 8 months and was fantastic, I think, for us today as well. So give some of the players big raps, and then fix up some of the small things. I think we planted a little bit too much in defence, and just sometimes the punch in our attacking runs needs fixing up. But we'll work on those things over the next couple of weeks, and we're ready for Huddersfield. Chris, thanks for joining us, and all the best for the rest of the season. Thank you.